Every librarian is different, and every library reflects what that librarian who's in charge of it thinks is important. When I graduated from South Panola, I went to Northwest, which was a junior college at the time. I went 2 years there, and then I transferred to Ole Miss. This is a story back from when my years at Ole Miss. I went to Tupelo with a group of my folks it was me and all these white kids. We went to see Gone with the Wind. They had re-released it in the theater.
Gone with the Wind.
Just crying like crazy. They had to be comforted when we left. We're in the car coming back to Oxford, and one of them said, "Gene, what time would you want to live in? Would you want to live back during antebellum?" I'm thinking, first of all, how are you going to ask me this question? I said, there is no time I want to live in other than the one I'm living in now.
Of master and slave.
No, I don't aspire to be a slave. I look on my time at Ole Miss fondly. And I majored in journalism and history. I got my degree from University of Southern Mississippi. That was a nightmare. This was my master's project, which was the library school term for a master's thesis in 1990. I did it at the University of Southern Mississippi. My subject was Princess or Squaw, the role of the Native American female in literature for children. And I used the Grumman collection as my resource for doing this. No critique on it, nothing. It's just slung it at me. And I went to the head of my committee, and I said, "Doc," she said it wasn't worth reading. My head of my project was Dr. Antonio Rodriguez Buckingham. But one of the people who was on my committee and was supposed to read this, when I went to get her response for this project, before I could get in the door, she threw it at me and told me it was not real research because during that time, real research involved surveys and statistics, and the type that Dr. Antonio Rodriguez had approved for me did not meet her requirements. To her chagrin and to my good fortune, Dr. Antonio Rodriguez and the rest of the committee thought it was fine. And I was able to get my MLS in 1990 from the University of Southern Mississippi. As librarians, we have to understand the pulse of our community. We have to understand the needs of our community sometimes before they understand what they are. That means we have to be in tune with who we live around, who we work around, and who we welcome into that space, and let them know that they are welcome in that space. When I was at Jackson Hines, it was during a period of transition from that North Jackson area. It was transitioning out of being a mixed area to being an all-black area. And the whites who were still there were upset with that transition. And I was reminded of, on a couple of occasions, just how many changes had not been made. I think it was twice someone used the N-word at me. Dan Fuller and I had decided we were going to put together a museum back before I retired. And I told him, I said, well, when I retire, I'll volunteer at the museum until we can get some grant money. You can hire somebody, and then I'll just breeze through when I feel like it and just kind of, have a good time. And so we opened up this version of the museum in 2021. Because I created a community down here and became invested in it. So I decided this is my place. These my people. This is my village. I got to stay. And the other reason is once I got here and learned about, I had never heard of Utica before I actually started working with Hines Community College. And I got down here and started really learning about William Holtzclaw and his connection to Tuskegee, and it just became something that I internalized and wanted to share with the students and with the faculty as they came in. Last year before last, when they started renovations of the library, here comes in the museum, McGreene, can we talk to you a minute? Yeah, come in, what's up? They throwing away books at the library, Miss Greene. I said, what? They throwing away books in the library. There's a dumpster full of books. How they doing that? Why is that right? I'm like, I'm retired. But I didn't understand what they were talking about. I said, let me check into it. I said, they weren't. The librarians were going through throwing books away. I said, do not throw out my Black Heritage collection. If you decide to weed that out, let me know and I can find a home for it. Oh no, we're not going to do that. There are 4, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, shelves, ranges of shelves. Mm-hmm. That's all that's left. So in the public library in the town of Utica, for years when I first got here, it was run by a woman who believed in that it was a place of silence and that you came in and you got your book and you left. And you could find your book, but everything was going to be quiet. And the place that they wanted to put the mural was on the library, not on any other building, on the library. And I really credit with Ms. Willette with being the voice that said this is a place that this can happen. The middle of that mural is William Holtzclaw. Aww. Yeah, there's a picture of William Holtzclaw. What I see happening, what I would dream that would happen, is that we would have more people become interested in the story, more people donating to the work,